Welcome to the program. Ukraine is embracing innovation and technology. The presence of the Ukrainian pavilion at the last World Economic Forum in Davos is the best example of the growing interest in this field. Now joining us in our studio to talk about this topic and more is Alex Lutskiy, CEO of Innovecs company. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So first question is going to be, of course, about Davos. What's your overview? You were there. What's your overview about this last forum and what Ukrainian IT there?
No, I think as we all know, right, it was the first Ukrainian house in the last 50 years of Davos. I think it was people who was involved in preparation, and I know all of them by name, right? So I think they did a very good job. I think we have done a very big exposure of Ukraine, right, as I would say, innovation hub. I think the idea was to gather around like 75 people for each panel. I think what I read today from the newspaper actually was gathering even more. So I think it was great success. I think it's a kind of first step to represent Ukraine, right, on a global market. And I think we should keep doing that more, right, to make Ukraine more stronger as an innovative technological hub in Eastern Europe, but also globally. So
to make Ukraine stronger on that in that perspective, what are the main challenges that IT is facing today?
I think I would say I wouldn't call this like a challenge. I think Ukraine probably not as mature as, let's say, other countries who's been in IT for like many years. For example, India or other Eastern European countries. I think Ukraine basically been in this market for the last like 20 years. And I think today we have seen much more confidence, right, in clients who comes to Ukraine. We see more confidence in investors who invest money into Ukrainian company, either it's a service company, product company. I think we've seen in the last like 5 years, like more than $600 million was invested to our company. So I think we start to get there. And I think to be more competitive, right, to be more stronger, we have to probably be more on a global market. So Davos was like one of those events where we came as a Ukrainian house. I think we have to be more like, for example, if I go to a different conference today, like Web Summit, right? We don't see that much Ukrainian speakers, Ukrainian leaders, Ukrainian CEO of big companies. I think we should do that more, and I think we will see Ukraine, I would say, very competitive, right? I would say even globally, right, in the IT market.
Because you said that maybe Ukraine is not mature, and it brings me to a certain point, which is obviously today Ukraine is facing some infrastructure problems, some deep structural problem, and it's also praised for its IT sector. So how would you explain this paradox?
No, I think again, I think it's a lot of when we talk about the infrastructure, right? So I think yeah, of course we're not as, I think from the investor point of view, right? So we're not as polished and like good looking as, let's say, you're looking for, let's say, like Poland, other countries, and we have that issue, right? Because and I think, but things that not only IT, right, industry, but also the parliament, right, the country should focus on to really create to polish all the laws, polish everything to make sure that when an investor comes in, he doesn't feel any complication to do business in Ukraine. I think that's one of the things that maybe stop some of the companies, right, come to Ukraine compared to, let's say, if you look India, if you look, let's say, like Poland or like Romania, right? So I think those kind of things we have to fix. Once that's fixed, right, I think Ukraine is, it's a big country, has like a lot of potential. Like I know for myself, because I used to be client of different outsourcing company living in US, and I think I look at from that angle. I feel that Ukraine has a lot of potential. I think what we do right now in the our business in the last 5 years. I think we're already competitive, right, with other countries. I think we'll do more if we get support, let's say, not only from IT's industry, but also from the government, right, who will give us not the financial support, but what you call like infrastructure support. Either it's a law, taxation, different things that IP, that a lot of clients are concerned. So that will create a lot of will create more noise.
So it's sort of process which goes
right.
all
that will
together.
Put us together, right? And we're going to be basically like in the same line with anybody else.
When we say IT, well, of course, it's a large word. What are the biggest trends that you could point out in Ukraine today?
I think besides that, of course, the outsourcing market probably dominating, right? It's the biggest in Ukraine because that's what historically has been done. We definitely see today big growth in startup product companies that start to grow, and we see, like as I mentioned before, I think like more than $600 million was invested to Ukrainian startup, to Ukrainian product companies. So that's definitely a new trend that will continue to grow. Also, I think what we've seen today, what we've seen in Davos, and I think one of the panels we've done in Davos was about cryptocurrency, which like has a lot of hype today globally, about machine learning, artificial intelligence, right? About the innovative hubs, right, that we built also in Ukraine. So I think those kind of things will be where Ukraine actually win much more. Why? Because today most of clients, most of partners, not looking for Ukraine as a cheap market as far as service providers, but also looking for actual talent in those kind of areas. In this case, it's not about the money; it's about to really get the job done. I think Ukraine has a lot of advantage today when it comes to cryptocurrency. I think we're talking blockchain. Ukraine, I think, one of those like top 3 countries that has like has more talent, right, in the country. I think we have a lot of hubs. We have a lot of company who is doing that. Something comes with machine learning, like artificial intelligence. I think those kind of areas where actually can be, in the first line of doing business like globally.
That's an interesting point you're raising here because cryptocurrency, of course, is the hot topic these days. It has its critics, of course, who see a bubble there. It has its defenders who see it as a future of money. I'm a bit black and white here.
Right.
But in Ukraine, it has staunch defender. Do you think that, and some ideas also in the political field went out saying that maybe cryptocurrency could be an interesting and blockchain technology could be interesting perspective for the country. Do you think that Ukraine's economy could be and would be ready for that kind of, to go full into that kind of economy?
I think it's a very good and tough question to answer, right? So I think I would separate like blockchain and cryptocurrency because I think there's a lot of confusion today, like blockchain, cryptocurrency, ICO. I think so, like 3 different things. I think blockchain as a technology definitely will continue to exist. I think we will see today even in our company, there's a lot of demand, right? Go using blockchain as a piece of technology, right, to integrate to the enterprise system the company builds, right? The cryptocurrency also will exist, right? The question is that will become a money tool to pay for something, and that will become more like an asset, like you could trade, like you trade today, let's say gold, anything else. So that's something to today is like a very difficult to answer. It will also depends how countries, like you say, will take that as far as the regulations, right? So I think today definitely a lot of hypes. Again, blockchain will stay. That has nothing to do with the cryptocurrency, even though it's kind of cryptocurrency based on the blockchain, right? Blockchain will continue to go, right? Or other, let's say, like Ethereum, for example. Cryptocurrency, it's a big question today, and there's a lot of discussion. And so we'll see. I think in the next, let's say, 6-12 months, I think we should be able to see something that everyone will speak up, and I think country will start to take some action, right? Either good action or bad action against that.
Now coming back to these competitive markets in Ukraine, especially in gaming begins to have a really growing, interesting market and skilled, talented engineer. Do you think there is a risk, though, because today, you talked about outsourcing, and what happens today in the cinematographic sector, for example, is that people come in Ukraine because it's cheap to shoot films, and then Ukraine don't necessarily have some benefits back from this kind of thing. Do you think it's how to ensure that it doesn't happen, not the same thing happen in gaming and in that kind of creative industry, also in IT?
No, I think today, like when it comes, let's say, to outsourcing, for example, I think like not all of the companies comes today just because it's cheaper. I think today most of the company comes because everyone because today like time to market is more important than the actual pricing. So a lot of companies, of course, some company looking for something too cheap, right? Some company looking for companies or looking for talents that can produce quality of products, right? Regardless of the pricing. when it comes to IP, right, to develop their own, own IP, right, and run that in Ukraine, I think again that goes back to legislation where why like most companies prefer to use, let's say, U.S. law or like UK law, because that gives you protection. Because IP today is the asset of your business, right? So if you cannot protect that, then you can really do the business. So I think from that perspective, we should be able to see again. I think that should come from the government, like IP protection, right? The company should be able to come register the IP, not to worry about. And second thing, I think also the condition to do business in Ukraine, right? Because today it's not that straightforward. It's not that easy, right? As you do, let's say, in US. And like I said, but again, those kind of things, I think we should today as a IT industry, IT association, right, work with the government. And at least today we see that, we were seeing in Davos, because we met a lot of people from parliament, a lot of people from, the president is also, I think it seems, let's say, they open, they listen, right? They're more innovative. They understand what we're trying to deliver for them to make it. So hopefully that's going to happen, right? And
so the best way all in all is to have those structural.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, that's what we like. What I know, like everyone was trying to do, like in the last 10 years, we have to get together and find what is the best for the country, and I think then let business to do it.
And that's hopefully what's going to happen. Well, thank you very much for coming in our studio. It was a pleasure to have you in the studio. That was Alex Lutskiy, CEO of Innovecs company. Thank you for watching the program. Stay tuned for the rest.